they're going to try and adjust the volume, I assume.
I can hear. Can you? You can't hear me?
No, I can hear you perfectly. Good.
Okay, I can hear you fine.
Great.
Can you see me?
Yeah. Well, no, actually, that's another story. But all right, we're gonna. I guess they're putting the tape in now, so I will give you guys a 5-second roll down and be out by about 14 after. So we'll go in 5, 4, 3, 2. Rik, you now have one of your first major American movies.
I know, it's scary. It's scary. I only came to America with 3 pairs of trousers. I need some more. They're filling up fast. Oh, that's rude. Sorry. Anglo-Saxon humor there.
Okay. Now you're doing Drop Dead Fred. What is Drop Dead Fred?
Drop Dead Fred that's the character I play in the film. And he's an imaginary friend. You know, kids sometimes have imaginary friends. They're invisible. No one else can see them except the kid who's imagined them. That's fine. That's perfectly normal. Except that the hook of the film is that Fred comes back when the little girl grows up and becomes Phoebe Cates. It's Phoebe Cates' character, Elizabeth. And the problem with Fred is that he is a really naughty boy. He's my size, but I play him like a kind of really spoilt, unpleasant, overexcited 7-year-old. His version of having fun is like excitement, and his version of excitement is breaking things. He likes to be naughty, he likes to break windows, he likes to break the furniture, he likes to smash the TV setup, he likes to wipe dog poo all over the carpet. That's what he does. And that's okay, it's kind of containable when in a little girl's world. But when he's doing it in an adult's world, and remember, no one else can see him, so his friend Phoebe Cates is getting the blame for all of this. When he smashes up a restaurant, she gets the blame. When he smashes up a string quartet, she gets the blame. I don't want to give away too many of the gags. So it's a nightmare for her. But ironically, he actually sorts her life out, really, because she's living an unhealthy sort of life. When he smashes that life to pieces, she starts to live properly again.
What would attract you to see this movie? I mean, you are, of course, the king of comedy.
Kind of violent, violent destruction. That's what would attract me to see it. Excitement, really. That's what I like for my entertainment.
When did you become actually involved with this? I heard this was a project that's been around for a while.
No, well, actually, it was quite surprisingly quick, actually. The writers came over to London, which is, I'm based in London. I'm hardly known over here. The only thing people might know me for is a program called The Young Ones, which was on MTV.
I know, wonderful.
And actually the character I play in that's a rather unpleasant, spoiled, childish person, so I kind of getting typecast for that, but that's okay. They came over to London and they saw me doing my current TV show is called The New Statesman, where I play a Conservative politician, Conservative Member of Parliament, and they saw me on the telly being whipped by Mrs. Thatcher when I was wearing my Union Jack boxer shorts, and they thought, well, you know, he looks cheap, he'll do anything, we'll have him. And this was, well, I suppose, yes, 2 years ago now. 2 years ago. Then they wrote it, and then the film company made it last summer in Minneapolis, which is lovely, a bit like me.
To touch on The Young Ones for a second, which, by the way, is a brilliant program.
Thank you.
You actually went from The Young Ones to something which is very Spinal Tap-ish called Bad News.
Yeah, how do you know about that?
Oh, I've got the copy. I watched it again yesterday.
Boy, that was fun. It was the same cast, as just for the viewers, that was the same cast as, pretty well the same cast as The Young Ones. Actually, the guy who played Spider 8 Legs Webb, who was Bad News' drummer, was the guy who was supposed to play Mike in The Young Ones originally. But he had a falling out with the producer, and so it didn't happen. Yeah, Bad News was brilliant, because we made 2. I don't know if you've seen the second one, but we went to the Monsters of Rock Heavy Metal Festival in Castle Donington. No. And we supported Ozzy Osbourne and Motorhead. And I don't know if you'd like... what they like to do, because they hate Bad News. Right? Bad News were like Spinal Tap. Although we didn't copy them, we had the same idea at the same time.
Same idea.
They hate us, because we are the worst. I mean, we're worse than the worst. We're the worst. And like 70,000 heavy metal fans, they come to the heavy metal mecca, and there's us, like, kind of desecrating, you know, the mecca.
And didn't you get your throat slit at the end?
Yeah, no, yes, I got my throat slit, but what happened was, what they didn't show in the film is that these guys knew we were coming, the hardcore heavy metal fans knew we were coming, and they bought these big flagons of cider. I don't know if you know what cider's like, but it's kind of the sort of English urine, really. And they drink it all, and then they go to the toilet in the bottles, right? This is true. Front toilet, not back toilet. And then they waited for Bad News to come on, and we came on and said, "Good evening, Donington," and the sky was black with bottles of urine.
Oh, wonderful.
And we got completely, it was just disgusting.
Will you ever perform with Adrian?
That's when I gave up rock and roll.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you ever perform again with Adrian, or maybe?
Yeah, I'm writing with him at the moment. We're writing a show called Bottom, where I play Richard, which is like a psychotic odd couple. I play Richard, and he plays Eddie Hitler.
Eddie Hitler.
Yeah, people say, any relation? He goes, yes.
I would assume. And maybe one day the young ones go to heaven, or?
I was talking to this with Aid last week, actually, and there is some talk of maybe doing a kind of reunion young ones where we're all our own ages. I mean, look, I got grey hair now. We can't call ourselves the young ones. The sort of middle-aged, rather paunchy ones. But yeah, we'd all like to, I think. Yeah. So it'll be like we could do a Christmas special or something, Christmas Day around at the young ones' house or something like that. There's plenty of things to smash up there. Yeah, if you enjoy the young ones, I've a pretty good idea that you'd enjoy much of Drop Dead Fred.
I'm sure. Dealing with Drop Dead Fred again, how would you describe Fred alone, away from Phoebe?
Away from...
I mean, how did you... Actually, let me rephrase the question. How did you create Fred? Did you have much to do with the creation of it? I mean, was there improvisation?
Yeah, it was rehearsals. I just thought... I just felt him. I just thought you should play a kind of spoiled 7-year-old, really. And I mean, that's kind of sort of not a lot of improvising needed. It's kind of second nature to me. I'm really rather an unpleasant person inside. I've got this veneer of politeness because I was brought up to be a nice English gentleman. But really, there's all this horror and sewage pushed down there. And they say action, and then all the bile comes out. So it wasn't terribly difficult for me. I find it's strange without an audience. I'm very used to an audience. I'm used to kind of a TV studio audience or theatre audience. Getting up early in the morning and doing stuff in front of a camera at kind of 9 o'clock in the morning is a bit disconcerting for a while. But there's A, it was a very happy experience, and B, it was a very secure experience because I knew that, I mean, if you look at the rest of the cast, there's Phoebe Cates, there's Marsha Mason, there's Carrie Fisher, there's Tim Matheson, all these are big names, and if I got a problem, I can go to them and say, when you're acting crying, how do you do that then? And they'll tell you.
Now, I talked to Phoebe yesterday, and she said that it was a little strange with you and her doing scenes where people did not know that you were in the room and you're actually trying to carry on a scene.
Yeah, that's difficult. That's difficult when I'm yelling into Marsha Mason's ear and she's trying not to try not to react. It's also careful as well because sometimes you do that and you do take really well. But if I said, what do you do, mega bitch, like that to her, and her hair might kind of flap a little bit, and then we'd have to cut and do it again. It's because Fred must have no impact on the real world when there's another adult around. There are lots of complicated rules like that. But yeah, I guess that was kind of difficult for them. It's sort of lonely for me as well, because I was sort of wandering around in these scenes and there's nobody looking at me. And I'm talking to people and nobody's responding. It's sort of sad, really.
Do you think we'll ever see a Drop Dead Fred Part 2?
We have to wait and see how it goes. I mean, this is a big break for me. This is an big American movie, If the Americans don't want to know about that kind of thing, then fine. Well, not fine, very sad, terrible. But if it goes well, and if America likes it, and they want to make a sequel, there's more to do. There's plenty more things to smash up. I'm on.
If someone was to come, a producer right now was to come to you from America and say, okay, we'll give you a movie vehicle, what would it be? What would you place yourself in?
God, I don't know. I tell you what I'd really like to do is get the Young Ones team and make something else. The same sort of character. I'd like to work with Aid and I'd like to work with Nigel Planer, who played Neil. I'd like to do something with the three of us. Slapstick's a very dirty word, but a much abused word, but I mean, we'll call it violent comedy, if you like, if that's the sexier name. That's what I'd like to do, I think, really, yeah. But I mean, that doesn't preclude me from doing absolutely anything I get offered.
True. I appreciate the time you spent with us today. I hope everybody goes out to see Drop Dead Fred, and believe it or not, it has been an honor talking with you.
Thank you very much, Barry. It's nice to talk to someone who knows something about bad news.
I loved it, and I hope to see much more.
Great. Well, we're going to do some gigs at Christmas. Come on over.
Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye, Barry.